Well, welcome everyone. This is another rendition of the Your Little Castle show. Somebody who enjoys music, enjoys the excitement and the entertainment. Somebody who's sang a little bit, but not near to the level of our guest, everybody. Give a warm welcome to our guest in studio here, Rick Schroeder. Rick recently won a local singing contest. And part of they contacted me I was actually going to be a judge. I had another conflicting event up in Chicago for a big Super Bowl event that I had to be part of. And I said, hey guys, but I'll still donate a little time on my show to highlight the winner. And I sent in my buddy Phil it was great. You guys have seen Phil. He's been on the show. We just recorded a show with Phil recently. And he said, by far and away, the number one best singer there right here, our guest in studio, Rick Schroeder, who's an original artist, a St. Louis musician, and the winner of the Best Singer contest here in St. Louis. Rick, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for that.
We enjoy having talented people in studio here. We've had a few really cool people join us. Steve Scarfina has actually performed live.
I know Steve.
In some of his music right here in our studio. And it really gets down to, what we're trying to do with this show is to promote all of the fun and all of the best excitement that you've got in a small community that makes for a good happy family, happy household, and an overall great community. And so that's where we have guests on our Your Little Castle show. With that, I'm going to put up back on the wall here the widescreen. Take a look behind me to the right. I've actually got our slider going here, and you can see that gets a shot from starting over where Rick's got his Facebook page. We figured out how to do dark mode, by the way, everybody.
Thanks. It does look so much better.
Took two IT people here. One of us figured out, the other one didn't. I did not figure that one out. Rick did. Rick has an IT background too. But Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle, and we love the sponsorship and the support we get from Carroll House. Also then, USA Mortgage, powered by the Flowers team, as you can see them on the screen behind us. So we're looking for all kinds of people we can support in Carroll House, and of course, USA Mortgage doing a great job. So with that, let's jump right in here. Rick, tell me, why do you love being part of the music scene, a leader in the community, somebody who's one of the best known singers? I've seen some of the bands you work with. I'm like, wow, some of the bands you were the lead singer for. You are an establishment here, and everybody knows if you're going to get one of the best singers available, get hold of Rick Schroeder.
I have been around for a minute. I have been doing this for a while. Thank you for all the accolades. I appreciate the opinion. Yeah, I've been doing this for coming up on 30 years now.
Well, tell me, why did you decide to get in this? You did start this, you mentioned, as you were 25 years old. Mm-hmm. And so, not sometimes kids get into the music scene when they're in their teens or early 20s. And some people like myself don't get into I sang a number of times on stage with different bands, not until I was like 38, 40. But you got into 25. Mm-hmm. You had an IT career going a little bit at that point. Tell us a little bit of the background. I'm wondering how you got into this and how other kids
actually,
understand.
I had left the Air Force. I'd left the Air Force and got divorced. And it was just, I started a whole new phase of my life. And actually, I kind of fell backwards into it. It wasn't like I decided one day, I want to be a singer. It actually started at karaoke. For real. I was doing karaoke I wasn't doing karaoke because I wanted to do karaoke. It just so happened that the bar that I hung out at had free pool and $1.25 rum and cokes on Wednesday nights. Okay. But it was also karaoke night. It was like, for a free pool and $1.25 rum and coke, I could listen to karaoke. And then somebody came up one night and said, hey, you should do a song. And then somebody else said you could do a song. And then people started asking me to do songs for them. That had asked me, he's like, dude, I want you to sing this song. And I was like, I'm busy. I'm not really in the mood. And he's like, no, dude, really, I want it. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I'm just not in the mood. And he was like, dude, I will give you $10 right now. And that's when the light went off in my head. I was like,
so were you better?
You're going to reach into your wallet and pull out an actual $10 bill and give it to me, and all I have to do is go over there and sing a song? I'm in the wrong business.
So were you a bit of a pool You like playing pool. You're there with your pool stick.
No, I just enjoyed. There was something to do for $1.25
And so then when it came around to it, they said, "Hey, now they had heard you sing before, I guess, is why he asked you to do that, or they just
at
said
the karaoke thing.
Okay, and
yeah, they'd heard me sing karaoke,
and they said came back to you and said $10.
They said $10 to go sing a karaoke song at karaoke night, and I was like, okay. And so I asked the very next day. I asked around if how do you get into a band? How do you become a singer? And somebody said, well, you usually, because this was before the internet, when you could just put it out there and 142 people would answer your ad in 22 seconds. Yes, they were like, oh, you have to go out to the music stores, and almost all of them have a bulletin board up for bands wanted whatever, and you just go to the bulletin boards and look for people who are singing and call the numbers and go out and do an audition. And so I walked into Fornashevsky Music and talked to the guy behind the counter. I was like, do you have a bulletin board? He's like, yeah, we do. And back there. And he's like, why do you need it? And I'm like, well, because I'm a singer. I'm looking for a band. And I said, do you know anybody looking? And he goes, well, us. And that was it. 24 hours after I decided I wanted to be a singer, I was in my first band.
Wow. Okay. So that has a lot to do with the fact that you've got the talent. I'd say more than anything. Somebody obviously noticed that you've got the skills. And you didn't realize maybe that when did you first realize you had a great voice and you could sing? And you just do
when that guy gave me $10 to go sing. I was like, real money? Really, real money? You're going to actually take real money out of your pocket, give it to me, and all I have to do is sing. Okay, I'm good with that. I can do that. That's a plan.
And then you got up there and said, I'll see if I can do this. And then you did.
I did.
And you're like,
well, let's do it.
Holy
Why not?
cow.
Nobody's stopping us now.
Because most of us who end up being semi-pro, that's our joke about semi-pro, you become a semi-pro singer because you sing in the shower, right? That's what we're all known for. I tested my skills. I sang in the shower for a while. Mm-hmm. Your first real exposure was like, all right, this karaoke thing. Never even tried it before. Never even sang in the shower to myself before. I'm going to go up here and see what I can do. And then blew it out. And people were like, holy manoli.
We're like, please do this again. Yeah.
Okay.
I was shocked, but pleasantly.
Well, it turned into a neat little career. I mean, this is literally what you do full time for a living.
This is unfortunately my current revenue stream. Yes.
Well, it's somebody that does as well as you do. Go back to the contest that we're talking about, everybody. As somebody who's been involved in the community a little bit, this is where I'll go ahead and put the cowboy hat on. And I just, if somebody has an affinity for music, my mom made me take piano lessons as a kid. I recently talked to my piano teacher, Diane Lover. She said, you were really good. You would memorize every song and play it back by ear. You didn't like to read music. You were really good. Why'd you quit? I said, I just didn't like it. I wanted to play baseball. And then with that, I had enough, but I still had enough interest in the family. My mom is a drama teacher. A lot of people know she taught John Goodman drama here. They came in town to name. Yeah, they came in town to name the theater after my mom, and John Goodman came in for that. That's what that picture up there is. And so I've kind of always been around music and theatrics and then baseball. And so I'm kind of torn between the two. Went the path of baseball, never really went the path of music, ended up doing neither. Right now I do video, right? But and marketing, but ties into that. But tell me, as a matter of getting into this then, where did it go from there to where now, how long did it take before it turned into a full-time career for you? And what was the path for that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by a full-time career.
Well, you were making a living.
When it took up all of my making a living at it, it's been a very, very small periods of my life when I've actually been able to make a living at it for legitimately. I mean, I had other income streams to support because making a living in this town, singing music of any kind is very difficult. You're going to need probably 5 or 6 projects working on a regular basis.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that a little bit because the reason Phil approached me, because he felt that there was kind of a void here. There's lots of talent here, but none of it's getting promoted. The last big time celebrity musician we've seen, everybody knows, is Nelly, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a number of people associate that. We've had Coco Bridges on the show. I've talked to J.E. periodically. I see him and talk to him. And then Nelly obviously did well. I was in Murphy Lee's video, but those are the last group of guys that really came out and made it big. Willie J. We'll talk a little bit about Willie J. Willie J. may be somebody we can connect you with. He's looking for talent. Willie J. started in St. Louis and now has made it pretty big. And that's what he does full time. And he promotes other talent. He's got a couple big hits that have hit millions of views and listens. And so, but it was difficult. If you have the talent, you have the skill, you have the dedication for anything, I believe, in life. If you're willing to just go after it, I mean, think about the weird career that I kind of have developed here as what am I, a public
that you fell into?
uh,
That's a great
cheerleader?
American story, is what that is.
and as a matter of, but just I think if you do anything consistently and you've got the skills, you've got the drive, even the talent is not as, I don't think, as important as the drive to get there.
Right.
But somebody like yourself who has the talent, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some great music that we can't play for you live on this show because I think it's mostly owned by other people.
Somebody else owns the copyright.
Technically. But boy, some of the bands, let's talk a little bit about that. On the wall behind us, I've got, and we won't play this because this is American Greed. You were the lead singer, a big hit went out to where you were singing. I'm going to put this up on the wall for everybody to see for us. And there it is. And so with that, this is at LA. This is the LA Music.
That is the LA Music Awards.
Yep. And you guys opened the show there.
We opened the LA Music Awards in 2011. Yep.
And with that, I mean, talk about pretty awesome accolade for somebody to reach.
It doesn't get a whole lot bigger than that, really. I guess opening the Grammys would be a thing, but I mean, it's LA. Paris Hilton was there. She was there for approximately 12 minutes. She walked in the front door, walked out back. We watched her smoke a cigarette next to the dumpster, and then she left. But, and that's 10 grand if you're Paris Hilton. I didn't get 10 grand to go in there, but
well, it's just like I said, we always are trying to emphasize the accolades that people can't attain. People talk about overcoming hurdles all the time, and then what are those hurdles that you have to overcome? And so hopefully not a lot of people have to go through a coma like myself, but that's kind of where this started with. And I felt like we need to bring on other leaders in the community. So when you won this contest, I agreed to put on, I said, hey, to bring some hype and excitement to whoever it is you guys deem as the best singer, let's spend a little extra time. We do have more time. We're doing 2 shows a week now with ABC. And I said, let's have Rick talk about his career path, not just the fact that he won this contest, which is neat. And like I said, Phil Minardi, one of the best respected musicians in the St. Louis area and across the country, he's been in with some big bands. I think he was part of.
Yes.
And then his Jefferson Airplane turned into Jefferson Starship. Thank you. You got that right. But he was originally in that band with the lead singer from that band in a band they had together. But anyway, my point is that there's a lot of great talent here in St. Louis, and Phil just felt like we've got to start emphasizing this. And then, gosh, how exciting was it? Because I didn't make it to the event. I was in that event for this. It was on the same night as the Super Bowl here this last year. And Phil said, by far and away, Rick Schroeder was the best singer there. And
well, that's good to hear.
And that's a pretty cool thing because Phil has become he's one of the best keyboardists in the region. And when he said you win that thing, I'm like, that's pretty cool. When do we get to meet this guy? And here I'll tell a little funny side note, as a matter of fact, that Rick was walking through Westport Plaza last weekend. We'd already scheduled to do this interview. I had not actually met you face to face. We talked on the phone, and I saw you there for about 2 or 3 minutes during that conversation because I was wearing my Cardinal Cowboy outfit. I had just come from Busch Stadium Cardinal game. They had the second event for the karaoke thing, and they knew I was tied up, I guess, because the Cardinals were playing that night. And I happened to be at Westport after the game, and you were talking to me, and I'm like, I know this voice. Who is this guy? This is the lead singer that I totally recognize you. And I'm like, then I looked you up. I'm like, now I see why you've done amazing stuff you've done. I guess where I'm going with that is the connections you make in St. Louis. This is a small network of people, and how do you make
very small?
How do you make it in this market? As best you can, and where can we go with this?
Go out and play. I mean, learn your instrument, learn some songs, and go out and play, and figure out. I mean, there's a lot of musicians that aren't good with business and business people that aren't good with music because they're kind of different skill sets in a lot of ways. So a lot of guys will just want to, if you're going to do original stuff, do what you do it to the best of your ability, and then just keep doing it in front of as many people as you can possibly get in front of. Record videos, put it on your TikTok and your Snapchat and your Facebook and every other distribution network that you can possibly imagine. Stand on the street corner, on the street corner and play it for no one if you have to. I
literally know people who do that. So with that in mind, tell everybody, do you have any specific training? We talked about a little bit of some of the difficulty you think there is for people here in St. Louis to make it because the market is just kind of weird versus other cities and the talent that people are willing to display and put on. I mean, it seems like a lot of people tend to gravitate towards Nashville. And I know, especially for country music, what do we need to do here in St. Louis to showcase more of this talent? And then do they need to have a singing coach? Did you have a singing coach?
I have never had a singing coach or any formal training. No. I did a lot of singing in the shower.
A lot. Okay. After you figured out you were good at this, you decided.
Yeah. Actually, I did. Truth be told, I got most of my vocal skills driving around in a Mustang GT, listening to Firehouse's first album.
Okay. And that allowed you to practice your skills
over and over and over again. Because if you can hit Firehouse, you can pretty much hit anything.
Well, I think that's part of what they talked about. And Phil was in studio. We were talking about you a little bit, and he said, "Yeah, Rick can hit any note out there, all the way from Journey, don't stop." I have to act like a. Can you do that? And
yes,
then
I can.
All the way down, and it's just is that kind of a unique talent you feel that you have? Obviously. God-given talent.
We were talking about this being there's a very small group. In that group, everybody knows who the people are, and there is probably maybe three. I'll give you maybe two or three other singers in this town that if they get sick, they call me. If I would got sick, my band would call them. Because it's pretty much, there's only about 2 or 3 guys that can do the set list. Okay. So you can't just pull from anywhere. But I don't know, what was the original question?
Well, in the St. Louis market, how do we develop more talent from here? And is it just, the market is what it is?
Market is kind of what it is. I mean, because it's a capitalist consumer market, and it's always driven by the consumer. It's not driven by, you can make as many cars as you want, but if people aren't buying cars, it's not going to do any good. So,
right.
And you talk about Nashville, man, you want to talk about a totally different scene, because one of the things about Nashville that people find out the hard way, if they don't already know, is nobody gets paid in Nashville. Nobody gets paid in Nashville. Really? You go down there, you have to beg to play for tips. And then you play only for tips, and there's no sets, there's no breaks, you take whatever time you get. If you get 3 hours, and you just sit there for 3 hours playing your songs and taking your tips and hoping that somebody like, Rich from Big and Rich walks in and hears you singing a song and goes, "You're amazing. I want to sign you to a contract." Next thing you're Gretchen Wilson and you're got number one. Yeah.
Then let's talk a little bit about the contest that you were actually in. Is that more of what St. Louis needs? Is that something that if they get this well enough organized and promoted, because American Idol, it seems like, is where most everybody comes from. We've had Nick Richardson was on our show, and he was on American Idol, and Matt Wynn was on American Idol, and he's done okay. But outside of that, Ethan Jones was on. He's a friend of mine too. But they all seem to have come through American Idol or The Voice, I guess, are the two big shows that they have out there. And is that a better, more efficient way? And that's why everybody clamors to go to those kinds of
people out there. Well, it's been a real boon for the music industry on the company side, because again, they're spending virtually nothing in artist development, right? They get all these kids to sign everything away and come down and be on our show for the exposure, which is awesome. You can't get better exposure than singing on national TV. But at the same time, then they are beholden to those people as well, even after the thing's over. So you don't win, maybe you take third. Now you're on the hook to these people to go on tour with them and sing all of their shows, and you can't get a deal with someone else because you're beholden to them.
Yeah, tell us a little bit, how does that work? I mean, it's a matter of, I understand that who's the guy that everybody.
There's so many of those.
Well, the main guy. Gosh, I'm trying to remember who that. He's got the English accent. I think he's from England originally.
Simon Cowell.
But from what I've been told, every time there's a winner that comes out of there, he gets first dibs to sign them. Is that true? Or
that is true.
How that works? Explain that process a little bit. Yeah, because somebody who knows a little bit about that.
Well, that's basically the deal. Is that you agree that they're going to put you on the show and you're going to compete, and then whatever happens on the show, regardless, you're still on the hook to them. So if let's see, somebody sees you on American Idol and they're like, "Hey, we'd like to give you a record deal or whatever," but you can't take that record deal because you're under contract to the producers of the show for whatever given period of time. Which works out well for them because, like I said, it doesn't cost them anything. They don't have to do any artist development. They don't have to, they're developing the product and marketing the product before the product even hits the market.
Right.
How great is that?
Yeah, I mean, here it is, finished, ready to go.
Right, here it
Let's
is. I'm
perform.
I'm not finding some guy and then trying to promote him into being a rock star. I'm taking somebody, putting them on TV, making them a rock star, and then selling them. It's really weird. Like the whole thing has flip-flopped all the way around. It used to be the record companies found artists and developed them into things, and then they would distribute. And now it's back. It's the opposite. You want to, you're an original guy around here, buy yourself a good home studio, record your stuff at home, just distribute it yourself. And then when you yourself have sold, I don't know, a couple of 100,000 copies, then you can call up a record label and say, hey, this is who we are. This is what we've done. We've already sold a couple of 100,000 copies on our own. And then instead of asking the record company what, you can do for them, you ask the record company what they can do for you.
Well, and that's where we talked a little bit in the green room, the pregame prep. We talked about the industry has changed so much. It used to be if you were good enough, you had the talent, they would find you. It's kind of what American Idol is kind of.
They had A&R reps. It's literally they would send people around the country to go to small nightclubs and music venues and listen to new artists and find really good ones and take them to Hollywood or wherever and give them a deal and say, hey, we want to promote you and give you money to record your stuff. But they don't do that anymore. So,
well, let's put up on the wall for everybody a little bit. Here is your Facebook page with the dark mode.
That is.
And you and I have 262 mutual friends. That's good to know. But a little bit about what you do. Your title right there, lead vocalist, and also the missile systems maintenance specialist. They didn't have jobs for missiles.
I couldn't find any people in desperate need of missile systems maintenance in the private sector. No, I couldn't. I was actually kind of upset about that. Well, people because every time I got out and I went to try to get a job, and I don't know how many times I heard, her, we don't have any missiles, her. Like, yeah, I know you don't have any missiles. I was pretty sure I knew that before I got here. However, it is a cruise missile. It's a complete unmanned aircraft. So electrical, mechanic, pneumatic, hydraulic. I mean, whatever system you're talking about, I've already done it. But yeah, you know how people are.
Well, and that's why it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. You've got to find a job doing something somewhere for somebody. And I bring up that story, and I was like, did we talk about this before? But it's actually another guest we've had on who's become one of the best known. He's the Wildlife Command Center. Literally has started off from scratch as somebody who came out of the military, had background with, I don't know if it was missiles also, maybe you and he were both to Michael Baran. Did you know Michael in the military? But he said there weren't too many missile-related jobs out there in the common sector. But then with your IT background, obviously something you did for a certain period of time, but then develop this into where you can make a living as a singer. To me, it's a kind of an astounding opportunity you've made for yourself to make this happen. And I guess that's where I'm trying to help. We're always trying to look for ways to encourage kids. And is it a matter of, do some of them have the talent and they don't realize it? Or are there a lot of people out there, they just don't have the talent and they should find something else? Where do you see most musicians fall?
You're not going to get me to tell anybody that they are not good enough and can't make it. That's just not going to, because it's not for me to say, first of all, because there's tastes and preferences.
Right.
I mean, I could go onto pop radio right now and find you 10 artists that I would never in a million years have given a contract. So who's picking who? I don't know. So you don't know on a given day. You just go out and do your thing. And if somebody likes it and finds you, great. But
so then back to what the show we originally talk about is to encourage people to go out there and try it. And I guess they're going to find out real quickly, first off, if they're going up there and they're singing and they're going, and
that's I will say I've seen enough of the American Idols and the Voices and the other shows of that ilk that there are a lot of folks who unfortunately their friends and family are not helping them out, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
I mean, your friends and family telling you that you're awesome. Right. The fact that you would let me get all the way to standing in front of Katy Perry, right, and then find out that I suck,
right,
on national TV. Well, in front of millions of people. You could have just pulled me aside at the bar and went, "Man, maybe this isn't your thing."
Well, I kudos to those who want to go out and try it. We're always trying to encourage everybody to do that. Share with everybody a little bit you have a new band you've just assembled. Talk a little bit about that. Are you the guy who assembled the band, or is a group of guys got together? Because we all know who the best musicians
we tried to
are.
get together about a year and a half ago, and we had some differences of opinion on some business matters.
Okay.
But we have since resolved that, and we're all on the same page and it's going the same direction. And I think it's going to be really good.
And so the band is called Tribute.
The band is called Tribute. Yes, it is not a tribute band. The name of the band is Tribute.
So if you want to hire Rick Schroeder, it's spelled S-C. I'm going to put the title up there for everybody. Schroed. We talked about, because of the phonetic
and I'm going to tell
translation.
you, I've been on television a couple of times before. This is going to be the first. You're going to get the credit for being the first to get my name pronounced and spelled correctly.
There you go. Well, I was going to say, I do have some relatives, and I think now maybe they do put the A in there, but I've seen other places where Schroeder is actually properly pronounced as Schroeder, even though it's spelled as such.
It's a translation thing.
And it's the thing, because the old Celtic way that the O.
Well, the German way was the O umlaut, which is like the Motley Crue O with the 2 dots over it.
Very cool. Well, I just think it's dynamite what you've taken as far as a career path, followed your passion, something that you're good at, and make a living at it. And I know that if you want to hear some of Rick's work, there's a number of places they can find you. Go to your Facebook page, Rick Schroeder. I'll spell that for everybody.
Schroeder.
I said it wrong. That's right.
I know. You look at it and you see the O and you just want to go Schroeder. I get it.
And
I don't play piano either. So.
Well, that's okay, as long as you can sing. And you will find very few singers with the ability that Rick has, and will perform for events, promotions.
I will perform at the opening of an envelope.
Opening of an envelope.
And I am available solo acoustic too. I do a lot of solo
acoustic stuff. So find Rick Schroeder. As you can see his name correctly spelled there. He's the winner of the big contest, and somebody that will hopefully bring some excitement to your next event, to your whatever it is. It's going to be a big gathering where you've got a lot of people. You need some entertainment, because that's what gets the excitement. These bars make their money not because they serve the best beer in the world. They make their money because they come to see the band play. And sometimes there's a cover, sometimes there's not. But they know that they'll sell enough beer, usually in everything they do in the festivities there, to make up the fact that this band is going to get paid. And these bands get paid pretty well.
And that's it. Well, that's the other side of that coin is as a band, you have to understand that when we were talking about are there people that are good enough or not good enough, at the end of the day, the saddest part of the whole thing is how good you are really doesn't matter. What matters is how many people you can get in seats. That's always been the case. It's always been the case. Being great is fabulous. Being phenomenal is amazing. But if you can be average and bring 1,000 people, man, you're going to play 7 nights a week.
There you have it, everybody. 1,000 people that are all spending. They will definitely make it.
If you can bring 1,000 people spent $20 a piece, that adds up pretty quick.
All right, everybody. Lots of fun we've talked about here on this rendition of the Your Little Castle show. Stay tuned for more. We're going to bring some more excitement. Check out all of our past shows on yourlittlecastle.com and our social media. We'll be back for more. Giddy up.